Hi, it's Pip here from Queen Pip Cards. Thanks ever so much for joining me on my channel today. Today we are talking Christmas. It's not that early to start thinking about your Christmas projects and getting your cards and everything that you want done for Christmas. Our new Christmas Autumn Winter catalogue goes live on the 4th of September. So it's not too soon to start thinking about these things, and this is a card made all with new stuff. So I wanted to just show you that this year it's going to be coppers and baubles, and actually there's loads of stuff in the new catalogue. So it's not just baubles, but if you like baubles or you want to do baubles, there are some gorgeous ones. So this is the new Christmas is Gleaming, no, just Christmas Gleaming, there's no is, but Christmas Gleaming stamp set. And as you can see, there's 3 different types of baubles. There's a lovely bit of holly down here, I really like this. And then there's some great sentiments and a little bit of a swirly thing, which I've actually used. I don't know if you can see. Well, you'll see it when I stamp it. You'll see it in a bit. So there's this stamp set with the 2 different baubles in shape, and then it comes as a bundle with 10% off with 2 punches. One for the small bauble, one for the large bauble. So that's pretty cool. So I just thought we should do some baubles today. So I've got all my stamps out and ready. It's also using some of the new papers from the Christmas catalogue, and these new papers are gorgeous as well because they're all copper foil already. You see that embossed, almost like on the paper. Well, it is actually on the paper already. Isn't that beautiful? So I thought I'd pair those together. The papers is called, as she gets it, Brightly Gleaming Speciality Designer Series paper, and it comes from the Brightly Gleaming suite, so it's all together. Stamp set, punches, papers, you name it, the whole thing. It's all colour coordinated, as everything is with Stampin' Up. So I seem to also manage to colour coordinate my jumper today with the Night of Navy. So there we go, we're just colour coordinating all round. So this is the card. To make this card you will need the following supplies. You'll need to have a crumb cake base. So this is just a piece of cardstock that I've cut in half, straight down the middle, and I'm going to use my bone folder just to give that a nice crisp finish. If you're new to my channel here today, then I teach how to make all different kinds of cards, 3D projects, everything. And you know, if you don't have all of the supplies, or you don't have all of these things at home, and you look at and you think it's a bit daunting, don't worry, you can start more simply than this if you wish. I have lots of videos that will help you do that. But if you are like me, a complete Christmas crafter, I just love everything to do with Christmas, then you might want to stock up on a few of these things, just saying. So because Christmas is all about glitz, and heat embossing is a fantastic tool, a great way of doing it. You can jazz up any project really with a little bit of heat embossing, and I love it. So it's a real wow, I think, for anybody who has done card making before or not done card making before. I think for either one of you will like it. So please bear with me. If there's anything that you don't understand, hopefully I will try and explain it as I go along. But if not, please put a comment below. I love getting questions, and I'm very happy to answer any comments, especially if I've said something that's confused you, because the last thing I want to do here is confuse anybody. So we're going to start with our crumb cake cardstock. This is the name of the card colour from Stampin' Up. And then we're going to cut a piece of Night of Navy, which is also the colour of the card. That's going to go on top of there. So this is going to be cut at 14.4 centimetres by 10 centimetres if you're in anywhere other than the US and Canada, because that's in inches and your cardstock is a different size. But basically you just need a card base and a base mat. And then I'm going to take my Night of Navy ink from Stampin' Up, which obviously coordinates the same colour as the same ink, so it's all going to coordinate together. And I don't know with this little piece whether it's supposed to be up that way, up that way, up that way. I don't think it matters. So I'm going to use it almost as if it's a wallpaper or some kind of dangling thing that's going on behind my baubles. So I'm just randomly stamping this, going over a little bit, don't worry about that. Trying to make it not all the same, and just over half in terms of along the card. Then while that sets and dries, we need to cut a piece of paper from the brightly gleaming papers, and this will cover over some of that stamping, but that's okay. And this is 14.4, so same length as the cardstock, and then it's 2.5 centimeters in width, and we're just going to stick that down. Now I'm using our multi-purpose glue, which is the best glue I've ever worked with, and it's soon to be back on order with us, or may even be on order now. I need to check and make sure, see whether it's actually back in again, but I'll be very glad when it is, because I love our multi-purpose glue. As I say, it's the best glue I've found. So pop that down there. That's just going to be our sort of focal point apart from the baubles. Next up, we're going to do those baubles. And for this, we're going to need a piece of crumb cake, just a scrap piece of crumb cake. There we go, like that. Actually, I'm going to close that up first, get that out of the way, and I am actually going to attach this to my base. Let's do that so that we don't get that lost in the process, and then that can just go and stand and be drying, although it does dry really quickly. You have some wiggle room, but not much. There we go. Okay, so I'm just using my embossing buddy here, and basically this is just a small bag filled with very, very fine talcum powder, and it takes all the grease off the surface of your stamp, and you want it to do that because you're going to use a special ink called Versamark. This is a watermark stamp pad, a pigment ink. It's sticky, and it means that you can almost hear that sticking to the surface of the ink pad, and that, this bit's not big enough, I'll do it this way. That is going to just become a sticky glue almost on your cardstock. You can't really see it, you can just sort of see an outline. That's why it's called a watermark, because you can just leave it to dry like that and it forms a watermark on the card. But if you don't want it to dry, then you use it to adhere embossing powder to your card. So I'm just doing all my baubles. That's it. I've done 2 of the big ones. I don't actually need 2 of the big ones, I only need 1, but hey ho. And then I've got my copper embossing paste here. Embossing paste? No. Copper embossing powder. Get my terms right for you, try not to confuse you even more. And you just sprinkle this over your sticky ink, and as you can see, it attaches the powder to the card. At which point in my last class everyone went, oh wow, that's amazing, and I was like, no, you haven't seen the good bit yet. That's just the basic part of it. It gets better. So but they were impressed just by the stickiness of it, so I thought that was brought back memories of when I first did my very first embossing, and I too was impressed by the whole effect. And you forget when you do it so often how fun it is for people who've not done it before. Okay, so I'm now going to turn on my power tool, my heat gun basically, and then I'll turn the sound down. Okay, so hopefully you can see now that what has happened is it's actually turned it metallic. I don't know if I can catch the light. There we go. So it's turned it into metallic. It's now dry. Okay, and it's now permanent. And so you have these embossing powders come in a wide variety. They come in our copper, gold, silver, black. I don't know if they come in rose gold. I'm not sure that they come in rose gold, but they definitely come in those 4, and white and clear. So, you know, you can get a lot of different colours and a lot of different styles going. And then I'm just lining up my image with my punch, making sure it's straight. There we go. Punching these out. You can hear you get a nice loud crunch. I love a punch when it's new and has that beautiful crunch. And if you look after your punches, they'll carry on sounding like that. You just need to make sure that you don't try and cut anything too hard or solid with them. Glitter is not a puncher's friend because it does tend to blunt your blades. Okay, so whilst it would be lovely to punch out a lot of glittery baubles, you might need to invest in another punch if you do that too often. It's all right for the odd one or two, but not hundreds. Okay, so now we work out which one of these we want. There we go. And I'm going to use my chalk marker, Stampin' chalk marker, just to lighten the top of my baubles, just to give them a bit of a colour. Nothing major, just felt like they needed a little bit of lightening to give a bit of different colour. And the good thing is that these are chalk, so if you go over the copper embossing, it doesn't matter, they just wipe off. Don't do that with blends. If you do that with blends, they will colour the embossing, so just a tip. Right, so now we have almost all of our elements together. We have our large bauble and our two smaller ones, and you can choose whereabouts you want them to be, but I liked mine having a little bit of space, like so. And you can choose different heights. So using our dimensionals, the mini ones I used for the small and the large ones for the large. These mini ones will fit exactly into the bauble head, which is quite handy because they're the bits that normally sort of waft around. You don't want that. So straight down. See, although it looks quite technical, this actually is a really quick card to make. So you could easily make a batch of these to give to your friends. And it would look amazing, but you'd not spent that much time on it. Well, you had. I mean, you'd spent enough time to actually do this and do all this, you know, the heat embossing and everything, but it's not hours and hours and hours, if you know what I mean. So it's nice that they look quite snazzy, but don't take up a massive amount of time. There we go. And then 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put a small one just on this bauble bit here. So that holds that down. And I know lots of people would just put one Stampin' dimensional on, but I like my baubles to be secure. There we go. And straight. Okay, so that's your baubles. Nice, easy, you like, hopefully. Then the last piece that you need to do is the sentiment here and this little bit of ribbon underneath. So for that you will need a piece of Whisper White, no, very vanilla even, cardstock. And this time I'm going to be using the Pretty Peacock ink pad. And this stamp gives you a solid colour and the writing is left. So you need to be quite careful that you do not push down too hard, okay? Because if you push down too hard, you tend to smush the ink and it gets into the Merry Christmas. If you're gentle with it, then it gives you a nice crisp finish. All right. Now they are a little inky because it's such a solid colour. So I'm going to set that aside and bring in one that I did earlier in true Blue Peter fashion. And for those of you who don't know what Blue Peter is, it was a children's television programme that always had, here's one I did earlier, so that they could speed things up and not wait for things to dry like glue and stuff and paint. So that became a catchphrase of my childhood. and it still lives on today because everybody I know of my age uses it. There we go. So you just chop those off, whoops, making sure it's turned up the right way. And then you need a piece of this Pretty Peacock scalloped linen ribbon. And this is, they come in all of the colours of the new In Colours, but this is the Pretty Peacock version. And see, it has this lovely crumb cake, so actually it matches perfectly just as it is. But I liked the look of putting the this to the ribbon. Now the best way of doing that is either with your snail, or for a really good secure feeling, I think you can't really beat tear and tape. So tear and tape is a pressure tape, and the more you press it down, the stronger the adhesion. And then you just lift off the covering tape if you can, and if you can't, you use our new pokey tool. This is our take your pick tool. Has lots of different gadgets on it, but the one I like is this bit here where you can actually get it underneath the tape. There we go. And there. You lift off the covering and you're left behind with sticky stuff. Okay, so then we're going to just glue that straight down onto our ribbon. There we go. Make sure we've got enough of the scallop showing on both sides, so it's straight. And then cut that straight along the end of there. Don't want anything hanging over. And then that provides our sentiment with a few well-spaced dimensionals. These are our mini dimensionals, and for those of you who don't know what dimensionals are, they're basically a foam pad, but they're exclusive to Stampin' Up because of their shape. They're hexagonal, which means it can get into corners very easily, into small places, and they are they are probably the best foam pad I've ever found. I've never looked back once I found Stampin' Up products. They just speak to me. There we go. So that was a very quick card. And I hope you've enjoyed this today. I hope I've shown you the variety and the versatility of this set just by using copper embossing. But look, you could make it beautiful with any colourways that you wanted to use. You could stamp it straight if you don't have a heat tool. You can grab everything you need to know about this in the instructions below. So there's a link to my blog. All the instructions are there, and I hope you have enjoyed it and I've not scared you away, and you'll come back and see more stuff from me when I'm next online on this channel. So thanks for watching. You take care now. Bye bye.